show. Hey. In a short speech.
I didn't want to say what that was, but I think you know.
In a short speech, billed as a national security address, Donald Trump didn't mention ISIS, but he said other stuff. Now, where did I leave that montage?
I don't know.
Oh, there it is.
We're going to be building up our military. We're going to make our military so big and so strong and so great. It will be so powerful that I don't think we're ever going to have to use it. Nobody's going to mess with us. We're not going to sign deals where we have 4 prisoners over there and they're still there. The leaders of Mexico, Japan, China, and every other country that we do business with, they're smarter, more cunning, sharper than our leaders. I have the smartest people in this country lined up. I know the smartest.
Now, he said he'd make the military so big, we'll never need it. Okay, size does relate to readiness, which is a real concern. But size doesn't matter to the terrorists planning attacks here. And when it comes to preventing them, we need specifics. You got to go deep. President Reagan understood the communist threat when he took it down. Does anyone have the same handle on terror? You can't assume a leader will learn in office, not when one error spells ruin. To defend 317 million lives, insults aren't going to work. George Will isn't the guy who's chopping off those heads. Maybe Trump will have specifics tonight. We need them not just from him, however, but from everyone. For right now, we have a president who let terror spread because he's too consumed by climate change. But as he frets over incremental increases in Celsius, the capacity for mass death grows in leaps and bounds. A fraction of a degree in heat means little, as the power of a killer rises exponentially. Call this terror change, the relentless expansion of threat based on a marriage of terror and technology. Fewer bad men can do far more awful things using available tools every single year. The first candidate to talk about how to fight terror change gets my vote. We have a new, far deadlier enemy, and we need a leader who gets it. Not electing one makes that new enemy our own stupidity. So let's go around the horn, as they say, Kimberly. Who is the most qualified, do you believe, to talk about the future threat of terrorism? I'm not talking about war. I'm talking about terror.
Okay, so I think Marco Rubio is very strong on foreign policy and national security. I've had the opportunity to hear him speak on multiple occasions. I think he's going to excel at that tonight. I also feel that Chris Christie is very strong. And again, I've spent time watching and at personal appearances that he's had to listen to his messaging and his background and experience, you know, as a prosecutor and combating terror, I think will also come into play.
In Jersey, because there were cases of terror in New Jersey, I seem to remember.
Well, but also as a prosecutor. So yeah. I think they both have an opportunity to do something there. This is a very pressing, very relevant issue, and so they should hit it out of the ballpark on that.
Juan, what do you make of this?
Well, I mean, this is a weakness for this group of people. I mean,
you think so? There's nobody? Yeah. I disagree completely with you.
Okay, well, I think that, in fact, this is a Hillary Clinton talking point, which is, you know, how can any of them compare to her experience?
Because you mean how she destroyed the Middle East?
Oh, yeah. You know, here
Benghazi,
we go. But I will say
the Red
that
Line.
Once you start to ask this question, the key point for me is, what are you asking about? For example, you're asking about the Iran deal. And if you're asking about the Iran deal, give me an alternative. Tell me exactly what you would do.
I'm talking about the modern face of terror.
Right. So I think, you know, the Iranians certainly are sponsors of terror. Now, I don't know, I can't connect them to terror that's taking place here in the home, but I think it's in the Middle East. They are, to me, the enemy.
That's a good point. Eric, who do you think?
See what you did there. You went with terror change instead of global terror warming.
Yes, exactly. Terror change, not
I think they're all good. I think any one of these, you can almost pick any one up there and say, you know what, they're going to protect the country. We have 2 million people in our military. We have the finest intel. I think they all have different ideas on when and where we should be deploying our assets, but I think the country will be safe as long as they continue to support and finance the intel that it needs to be supported. I think what is it, $6 or $8 billion to the FBI? Keep that number high and continue.
Money. Then we should give them more.
And I think they all are on board with that.
What about you, Perino?
Well,
Perino? Like a burrito.
I said Perino.
Hey, look. Okay. I think one of the things that is attractive about Trump for people is that he seems to be able to put his finger on the pulse of Americans feeling like our country is no longer respected in the world. Mm-hmm. Part of Make America Great Again is not just domestic politics, but keep America as the superpower that it is. I think so. I think that's part of it. I'm not saying that he would have the best solutions, but I don't think any of them are really going to know until they get there. Part of that, it's a worldview. Like, I would ask more like, do you think America should intervene? Do you think America should have enforced the red line? Or do you think that we should leave them to it and deal with the consequences later?
Can I just jump in here and say, for example, on the migrant issue, it's a current affairs, not speaking to your issue about terror, but okay, so what do you guys think about these people fleeing, and do we have any moral or national security obligation?
And I would flip that right back on Obama and Clinton, 100%.
I would go, I'd have to say, I'm Carly. I mean, look, right after 9/11, she delivered a ton of HB equipment to the NSA when they needed it. It was supposed to go retail, and she shipped it right over there.
Is that right?
She worked for the CIA. I mean, she didn't hold any political she wasn't a governor or senator, but she chaired the External Advisory Board at the CIA, which means she knows cyber terror, which is something we're all going to have to face, and the many threats that come with technology, whether it's drones and things like that. She knows the players. I think she's the sleeper here tonight. I really do. But that's just me, and I'm just talking.
But
and I'm the only one talking.
Right.
So we're going to go to a break.
Being respectful of you.
Oh.